BBC Hereford and Worcester.
Thanks for being there. 6 minutes after 7, Howard and Tony on BBC Hereford and Worcester. CCTV cameras that allow parents and teachers to monitor pupils in the classroom are being used at 2 Herefordshire schools after the county was named in the UK's top 5 hotspots for illegal drugs. The idea is that anyone with permission could live stream the footage on the internet, in some cases via their smartphones. We're unable to tell you the name of the 2 schools for privacy reasons. Our reporter Tom Gary has been asking these secondary school pupils in Worcester what they make of the idea.
It'd be quite good because many people get bullied in our school and parents don't know about it. So then parents can actually know what's going on with their children.
So you feel CCTV makes you feel more safe?
Yeah.
It's quite intimidating, really. Like, you feel like you're getting watched, and if you do anything wrong, then you're going to get judged by your parents. Or we don't really get any privacy. You go there to learn, why would your parents need to know what you're doing?
I suppose in some places it's okay because it's being there for your safety. Then in other places, it destroys your privacy.
I feel more safe with CCTV because no one can, do anything that you don't want them to do.
I think it's good. I mean, it just stops crime in the school and stuff. I think it's really good, actually.
Well, you don't need to be safe in a classroom.
Interesting views from some students in Worcester. Richard Hillgrove is from WatchBot, the company that supplies the cameras. We'll also hear from Gary House, who's head teacher at Lady Hawkins School in Kington as well, in the conversation. Richard, if we can start with you first this morning. Thanks for coming on the programme.
Good morning.
A lot of schools have CCTV either around the grounds or in the reception area, maybe. Just explain how this is different.
Well, this makes it more prevalent, obviously. On a shoestring, you can cover more areas without going into an industrial scale rollout. A lot of schools are on very tight budgets. Obviously, in the internet age, there has been a proliferation of IP cameras. This is the smartest, most sophisticated IP camera on the market for the price. And obviously, we see there's a real reason in Herefordshire to use this because there's a drug problem in schools.
OK, 2 schools involved in this. I mean, why have they felt the need to go down this particular route?
We proactively approached the schools that were cited in the Public Health England report, and number 3 on the list was Herefordshire in terms of the troubled areas. There's Walden Forest, Liverpool's in there, and Oxfordshire. Number 3 there is Herefordshire. So we approached some schools and we said, would you be interested in a free trial? And we'll show you how easy it is to get this thing working. Basically, it's plug and play for WatchBot camera.com, and basically they're up and running straight away. They can put 64 of these cameras, which sell for only $149.95. If they buy on bulk, there's discounts. So obviously the schools with limited budgets are saying, wow, we can cover every blind spot in the school, problem spot. Now, clearly, I know where the concern is because I've been listening to your trailers and people are saying there's a privacy issue there. But if the schools have known areas where people congregate and people who do not want to be trying drugs at school, it's dissuading people from even trying to do it, knowing that these cameras are in place.
There is a huge privacy issue, though, Richard, isn't there? Because people can access this, as we were saying in the introduction, on their smartphone. So it's a live stream. It's footage on the internet. Somebody could, sit there with their tablet or on their computer screen. You could have a dozen people around there looking at that. How is this secure? I mean, we're talking about children here. People are viewing children online. That can't be right.
It's not like Big Brother where it's beamed to millions. It's completely controlled, and obviously in the same way that you could say everyone could tap into your bank account.
Well, how is it controlled?
That's online as well. Well, it's controlled in that it's not a free-for-all in terms of the feed. Obviously, any number of people could look at the feed, but the school have to agree what teachers, what parents, get permissions, make sure everyone's happy with it. It's not just a free-for-all where the whole nation will be watching a particular school and laughing. It's nothing like that at all. It's using the power of the internet, but it's still completely secure. And these are not hidden cameras. They're not hidden in between books, and they're not put in lavatories. They're in obvious areas which act as a deterrent, much in the same way as if you're driving down the road. It's not a speed camera, but when you see one of those flashing lights, it may stop some people deciding to start congregating and starting to persuade. The peer pressure element comes off. So I think WatchBot camera has been very responsible in the way they're handling it. Obviously, there is a real polarising, though, from what you're saying to me.
Absolutely. Richard, let me just bring Gary House, head teacher at Lady Hawkins School in Kington, into the conversation. And Richard, feel free to chip in as well. Gary, just listening to what Richard's saying there, first, I think probably worth understanding what security your school has.
Morning, Howard. Morning, Richard. And morning, everybody else. What do we have? A lot of trust in our neighbours, really, is our main security. Good relationships with the police. We're an open site. We've got 2 public rights-of-way that go across our site. And our neighbours are our best watch-out system.
What do you make of WatchBot's idea here in these 2 schools in Herefordshire that have taken this particular route?
Day-to-day running of the school is a matter for the head teacher and the staff of the school. Strategic run of the school is a matter for the head teacher and the governors. It's really up to them how they organise it. We debated such a system at Lady Hawkins and decided not to go ahead with it. We have got 1 passive infrared light which activates if anybody comes on site and on premises. That's at a strategic point in the school, and that also takes stills photographs. That was put up after consultation with the governors and the local police at 1 site on the school.
What was it?
Is your issue one of volume? So that's okay, you don't need to get permission for that, but why would you therefore have a problem with WatchBot camera?
Well, I've actually worked in a school that had CCTV installed as well.
Right.
And it was appropriate for that school. It's not appropriate for my current school.
What was the tipping point that said, no, we're not going to go down this particular route, Gary?
The way that our students behave, the way that our community is, the way that we work, and philosophy of the school.
I think the main problem you've got with kids in this .com internet age is that they're getting around the rules, and they're all on the internet a lot of the time, and relying on your neighbours, as you put it, to keep an eye out isn't really working. These kids are behind the scenes, and I think something more needs to be done to make sure that children are protected in schools.
Well, our protection is also a highly structured curriculum, highly structured community with a PSHE drugs awareness programme, and we have chosen not to go down the route.
Richard, just coming back to this point, you talk about the kids are so savvy on the internet and everything else. What is to protect people from somehow somebody getting hold of this live stream and, I don't know, setting up a screen and showing it to as many people as they wanted? It does seem the security on this is rather lax.
It's not lax, and it's as rigid as anything on the internet. And obviously we hear these things like eBay have had all these problems. Everyone has to change their passwords. There's hackers on every front, and we obviously know that. That's the problem with the internet, full stop. WatchBot is no different. It's in the same way that you go online banking and you could be attacked that way as well. But this is not a free-for-all. Let's look at your feed, let's look at your kids, and the cameras are not put in any place that would be compromising. Generally, they're in high points and very obvious and very visible. If you look at the website, watchbotcamera.com, you can see the white, black, the obvious cameras. They're not hidden. The feed is not the feed is not a free-for-all. It is only for concerned people, parents and teachers.
Richard, we're going to leave it there. Thank you. Richard Hillgrove is from WatchBot. We heard from Gary House as well as head teacher at Lady Hawkins School in Kington. Maybe you'd like to chip into this morning. Cass has on text, I'm so glad my kids are no longer at school. It's so different. So when you and I were there, I remember picking up my son one lunchtime one day and asked him who the people with walkie-talkies at the gates were. He told me they stand at all the gates back and front. At break times, it's when the dealers hang around. It was a school in Evesham. I felt sick. So yes, in this day and rotten age, I think CCTVs are a necessary evil. Let's hear what you've got to say on that. 0345